Hey guys, how you doing? Luna here with a new video for the channel. I hope you're doing well and welcome to a new episode of the Versus series. This is basically a series where I take two of your favorite artists or recommended artists and face them against each other. In today's episode we have a weird one, and is the fact that for some reason Taylor Swift decided to put out a song that has like a few backing vocals and a few lines from Lana Del Rey in her new album and called it a feature. So everyone's been talking about Lana Del Rey and Taylor Swift, so I kind of wanted in, I wanted views, so I thought that it would be a good idea to make a video, facing them up against each other and asking the question, which one is better? Is it Taylor Swift? Is it Lana Del Rey? First, I wanted to talk about popularity because this is not really that important, or I personally don't think it is. Popularity, even though it's obviously a factor and it's obviously like some sort of hint at the fact that people enjoy your music more than the other person's music, say, I don't think it really represents quality. I'm pretty sure that you jump into Billboard top 100 best-selling albums of the 2010s and you're going to be really disappointed on the albums that come, like the ones that sell the most. So I'm not really gonna focus that much on popularity to sort of make this decision. But the thing is that I personally believe that Taylor whoops Lana Del Rey's ass in every single aspect in terms of popularity. Is it only in the US? Is it in the UK? Is it in fucking Australia? Is it in Africa, Japan, or Latin America? In every single part of the world, Taylor is known. She is a worldwide pop star. Instead, Lana Del Rey is sort of like a niche. Like usually you have a group in every single country, a really strong following for her, but you don't really have such a massive following as Taylor does. So in terms of popularity, not only in terms of the songs, say, because everyone knows Shake It Off, everyone knows We're Never Ever 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 Getting Back Together, but also in the albums. As I said, I live in South America, and everyone knows 1989 here, everyone knows Red. In 2012 it was mad. Everyone owned a copy of Red, and to be honest, here in my country most of the people choose listen to music on YouTube or pirate download. So yeah, I basically don't want to spend too much time talking about this because it's pretty much obvious that Taylor takes this one, so yeah. Lyrics. Now we're talking about lyrics, and this is more important, and this, it's more debatable. Let me tell you something that may be kind of, offensive to those Lana Del Rey fans, but I personally believe that Taylor's storytelling is superior to that of Lana Del Rey. She definitely does know how to bring this elegant references, elegant scenarios, really classy lyrics in every single one of her songs, but Taylor does a way better job, in my opinion at least, at putting together stories so it's interesting. You can kind of get, the whole picture without having to pay that much attention to the lyrics, say. What I mean by that is that, often when I'm listening to a Lana Del Rey song, the pace of the track is so slow and the delivery of the lyrics is so slow that you can kind of forget about the concept of the song midway through it. Instead Taylor seems to be way more quick with it, way more to the point. You don't have such slow melodies that kind of drag the story more than it needs to be. So because obviously the melody is complementary to the lyrics, so you cannot have a story if you're not going to have melody to tell this story, at least in music. So pretty much, even though I kind of like Lana's more classy, elegant, and adult, say, lyrics about love, heartbreak, and all these kind of things, I do think that Taylor is better at the time of sitting down with her pen and writing down these stories. It can get a bit repetitive. Again, like most of these stories, even though you can perfectly tell what they say and what they're trying to tell you, are really corny and teenage-like and awkward in a way. For example, the track Stay, Stay, Stay in Red is one of the most horrible tracks ever, but it tells a story, and it tells it the way you understand it, but it's because you understand it that you know that it's so bad. I have mixed feelings in terms of lyrics right now. I do like Lana's style more, but I think that in terms of technical ability at the time of writing these songs, it's better in the case of Taylor. So I might as well just give this one to give a point to each one. Now, in terms of influence, once again, I know that some of you may disagree with me, but I'm giving this one to Lana as well. And the reason why I'm giving it to Lana is because Taylor has always been more of a kind to grab of a trend, grab of a different type of music, but never starting or kind of initiating anything, you know. Instead, Lana's cinematic type of songwriting, performance, and production has inspired multiple people, like Billie Eilish, for example. XXXTentacion has been, you know, has said multiple times that he has been inspired by her. You can even kind of say that Taylor herself was influenced by Lana in albums like Folklore and Evermore, which feature really similar production, performance, and lyrics as Lana's music. So if Taylor herself has been influenced by Lana, then how can you not give the point to Lana? But Taylor has been really influential too, not as much as Lana herself, but I guess you can tell that Taylor was the responsible of bringing to the mainstream some genres. For example, the country music in the late 2000s. I'm sorry, and then, you know, this pop rock thing that she was doing in Red and Speak Now. She also kind of popularized the thing, but after that, she was kind of just jumping in any trend that was good at the time. For example, synth pop in 2015, a little bit of a darker, you know, sound in 2017 with Reputation, then again with the LGBTQ things in Lover, and then, you know, in this indie kind of thing that COVID brought about in 2020. So it's not like she was, you know, creating anything or pushing through anything with her own style. Taylor has a particular style, but always uses another genre to kind of perform in it, never you know, includes her style onto it, which is the reason why in many of the country takes that she has released, she sounds so uncomfortable and weird. So yeah, I'm giving this one to Lana. I'm sorry, don't be mad at me, okay? In terms of songs, you know, to answer this, I kind of asked myself the questions. If I had the chance to only listen to one of this beautiful lady's music for the rest of my life, which one would I choose? And it's kind of hard, you know, it's kind of debatable. This is the hardest category for me to pick one of them, because even though I kind of like Lana's music a little bit more in terms of singles, like I don't know, Blue Jeans, Summertime Sadness, Video Games, Shades of Cool from Ultraviolence, Love. That track is fucking amazing, and actually I believe that the set of songs that I just said to you are better than many of, you know, of the singles released by Taylor. But the problem is, they all sound quite similar. I guess you can only go for one mood when you're talking about Lana Del Rey. Instead, with Taylor, you have a diverse palette when it comes to music. You have country music, you have pop rock music, you have a synth pop music, you have electronic music, you also have folk music most recently, R&B music, you have trap music, you have a lot of variety. In the case of Taylor, while Lana, you only have these string-driven compositions that are really beautiful and they really work well in her albums. But I would argue that it's not enough. You know, it's not, you know, I couldn't really listen to only that for the rest of my life. I must confess that I find myself listening to Lana Del Rey quite often instead of Taylor. I don't really listen to her songs that much, only the things found in Folklore, which kind of contradicts the variety thing that I just told you, because Folklore and Evermore don't really have that much variety in it. So I guess it would be cheating if I were to choose Taylor only because of the amount of variety their songs have. But the thing is that, you know, Taylor's songs are also quite enjoyable. You have Shake It Off, you have Style, you have We're Never Ever Getting Back Together, you have Red, State of Grace is an amazing song, The Best Day is an amazing song, you have Evermore, the title track from her album 2020, you have Cardigan, you have The One, you have, for example, Sweet Nothing from her latest album, which is also an amazing song. So Taylor does not only has variety, but also has a set of amazing songs. So at the end of the day, I guess that I would still choose Taylor, quite honestly, because not only does she have a more diverse song catalog, but she also has a really enjoyable, fun, emotional, and entertaining set of songs. So yeah, I'm giving this one to Taylor. Now let's go with the most important part of the video. Basically, if an artist wins this one, they basically won over me. Even if they don't really win in the score, they have my victory, okay? It's the discography. Your songs can be really good, you can be really influential, you can be the most popular thing in the world, and you can have the poetry of Shakespeare. But if you don't have good albums, Get the fuck out of here. And in terms of albums, I don't know, call me crazy, but I'm about to give this point to a certain woman that I know is gonna get me a lot of hate. Because yes, Taylor does have a set of amazing albums. Red is a good album. 1989 is a good album. I think that Folklore is a good album. Evermore is a good album. But it seems to me like every other release that Taylor has come up with, it's rather bad, forgettable, or not that, not that great, really underwhelming. In the case of albums like Midnight's, Reputation, the early country takes, for example. Instead, with Lana, we have way more consistency. At the very least, you're gonna have a set of good songs, even since their debut with the release of Lana Del Rey. I don't really know why it's called that way, aka Litzy Gray, which is not a great album. It's actually quite boring, but you have a better and more solid track list than some other albums in Taylor's catalog. The same thing with Born to Die. Ultraviolence, even though Honeymoon was quite an underwhelming album, you still have some good songs in there as well. You have Normal Fucking Rockwell. That album is fucking amazing, my personal favorite from her. You have Lust for Life, which is, it's an album that has a lot of stinkers, but the rest of the fucking album is really good. You have a lot of trap influences in this album. It's a way darker album as well, and more modern with more, a trap influences found in there, with a lot of features, for example, like A$AP Rocky added into the mix. I like that album, even though, I understand that someone may not like it as much as I do, but I personally love it. So yeah, I know that Taylor's discography is way more, diverse. It tells a story that's way more interesting than Lana's, it's obviously a story of growth, but in that story of growth, you really have some bad albums that are painful, albums that I don't really want to listen no matter how many times you want to put it in my face. Often I just find that Taylor releases albums just to get hits and hits and hits and number one songs and videos that have a lot of views. Instead, Lana, I believe that, the creative process behind Lana's albums are way more artsy and overall more focused in making a great album rather than making hit after hit after hit, and that is something that I really do appreciate. I think that this string-driven songs, with the cinematic sequences in the lyrics and this poetic lines about love, sex, and heartbreak are way more effective when you listen to the whole thing rather than just one song, when it can be quite slow. Instead, these albums, especially Ultraviolence and Normal Fucking Rockwell, are really well paced, and it's not like you'd only find this type of songs in these albums. You also have some tracks that have a faster pace, way more enjoyable, and way more, a really nice change of pace in the middle of the albums. For example, Shades of Cool in Ultraviolence. You also have the title track in that album. In the case of Born to Die, you have the beautiful opener, the title track. You also have Video Games, one of my favorite songs from Lana. You have Summertime Sadness, which is one of Lana's best songs in terms of, this dark ambience music. It sees Lana at her creative peak, and even Lana's worst album like The Debut or Honeymoon are not really that bad. They do have some good songs in them, and you can give the albums a pass if you like this style. Instead, in the case of Taylor, if you go for her debut, or for example Speak Now, or you go for Reputation, you can really have a bad time listening to these things. So I'm giving this point to Lana, which brings me to the conclusion. Even though Taylor is an artist that I enjoy, and I really like some of her albums, and I really enjoy some of her songs, I like this heartbreak thing that she has been carrying on ever since 2006. I really do enjoy the way that she tells the story, and I like the way that she performs as well. But I couldn't really bring myself to say that she has a better discography or better career in terms of, only music than Lana's, because Lana has been more focused on trying to perfect and trying to build up this sound of tragic glamour and somehow love in an adult way, which to me is more interesting. It doesn't feel as corny and as awkward as this teenage love that Taylor has been portraying ever since, again, 2006. So always, if I had to choose to, only listen to one of them for the rest of my life, I would definitely go for Lana Del Rey, because it's just concepts that touch me in better ways that, the most of Taylor's music. Usually I listen to Taylor for a nice melody, an interesting story in terms of heartbreak in albums like Folklore, Evermore, or Red, for example, in songs like All Too Well. But overall, if you consider songwriting, if you consider melodies, performances, the way she uses her voice to tell this stories or paint these pictures, I'll always go for Lana. She's definitely superior in this case, and that's the reason why I was so disappointed that her feature was so so mild on Taylor's album. So yes, that will be it for today's video, guys. I really hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead and leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any other videos that I upload. Be sure to leave me your opinion down below. I would like to know which one you think is better. Is it Taylor Swift or is it Lana Del Rey? I'm open to any sort of opinion, so go ahead and leave it down below in the comments, so I'll make sure to check it out. I love both of them, don't get me wrong. Even though the score seems to help Lana take the win on this one, I love both of them. I really feel good listening to both of their albums, both of their music, so there's no reason for you to be mad at me. I'm not saying that any of them are bad. Again, I'm always open to opinions, so if you think that I'm wrong in something, leave it down below in the comments so I can kind of give you my opinion on your opinion. With that being said, once again, I hope that you enjoyed, and I hope that I can see you soon with a new video. But until then, bye.